All right, hey everyone, we're Raptech. We're the construction group. As you probably already know, I'm Keegan, this is Max and Brian. Our project is exploring the interoperabilities between Autodesk Revit and 3D Studio Max for the purpose of architectural visualization, which is what we're going to define right now, which is kind of like taking pictures, making pictures of buildings and showing the client, as you can see, so they know what you're going to be building them before they pay for it. And, that's not a very good architectural visualization. They used to do it obviously on paper before computers, but this was a rough sketch by an amateur. I won't say his name to protect his identity because he might be in this class. He is in this class, but anyways, it's gotten a lot better with time now with computers and software such as 3D Studio Max. And the big plus with architectural visualization is that you can show, as a contractor or a firm or whatever, you can show the client before they pay for your services, before ground is broken, what you're going to get. You can see that apartment's been placed in the site. You know what it's going to look like. You can also do interiors of rooms. You can model everything. You can stage stuff with the furniture. You know, before you threw furniture in there, you just had a room. But here they've decorated it. They've put some furniture. There's a bed in there. You now know, oh, that's a bedroom. That's what that's going to be. And you can design it too, and it looks nice. So people can see what you're trying to tell them better. Another great plus with our visualization is optioning. You know, a lot of residential builders use this as well as commercial builders. If you were going to buy a house, you're not sure what model you want or what all the amenities you can get on it. This is the same house with 3 different exterior finishes put on it, so the client would be able to choose, you know, what they want in their house or their apartment or whatever building. The other side now of construction graphics, kind of more our side, the more technical side, this would be building information modeling. This is a screen cap from Revit showing some elevations of the house that I'm modeling for this project. And as you can see, it's not very great for defining what I'm making because it's face on, it's not perspective, you know, there's not really good colors. To further prove my point, that's a floor plan of Mackey Arena. That's actually a photocopy of the hand-drawn plans from the 60s, which I've been having the pleasure to model this semester in another class. And you know, as you can see, I can kind of understand from my background what they're telling me, but I mean, if I told you that's a basketball arena, you're not really going to know what it looks like.
All right, so the software that we're working with for our project is 3D Studio Max, as we said, and also working with Revit 2013. There's a new interoperability between these two softwares where you can directly import a Revit model into 3ds Max, where in the past you had to use a Exchange format, and it was a little bit more of a pain in the ass. So the process sort of streamlined, and we're trying to figure out how to do this best way. So the first step is importing your Revit file into 3ds Max. There's a lot of settings that go into doing this and ways that you can group your geometry in order to make it a little bit faster. And so we've explored the best ways to go about that in the different ways that you know, are possible. And it looks something like this when you bring it in. Then you want to set up your daylight scene and your lighting, so you can set up your sun, and that's going to be consistent throughout all of your renderings, so that way you get a pretty consistent look and feel to every rendering that you create, and everything sort of looks pretty uniform as you go through the process, which is definitely what we're looking for. The next step is putting in your cameras. One thing that we've explored is studio lighting and camera techniques, and just so that way we can also make a realistic image and also make an image that, you know, looks nice, because, you know, we have these photographic techniques, which is very important when you're making these types of visualizations. The next step is importing your furniture. We find a lot of our models online, and also from our sponsors provided us with some models. You can see down here, that's a couch that's imported from Revit. It just illustrates that you really shouldn't be importing things from Revit as far as furniture and organic forms, because Revit isn't made for that kind of stuff. The next thing is putting your materials on, setting your, you know, transparency settings and your reflective properties, and mapping images to your materials so that they look realistic, which is very important when you're creating a realistic image, obviously, is that your materials look like they would in real life as you're going through the process. Then you get to your render settings. Render settings are very finicky, and what we're trying to figure out is, or what we have figured out is, how to create renderings quickly that are pretty good quality, because you can spend hours and hours creating a rendering, where you could just spend maybe an hour or two creating a rendering by just knowing what your render settings do. And then the last step is going through and doing some photo editing in After Effects or Photoshop and getting rid of some of those noisy pixels and things like that, as opposed to going back and re-rendering for several hours. You can go through, take 10 minutes and blur some stuff out, and you get exactly the same effect.
So part of our product is a schematic design booklet. A schematic design booklet is basically a color pamphlet that you would hand to a client. It has floor plans, renderings. So basically it's trying to sell your property even before if it's even built or even before they break ground. So it's a really beneficial thing to have when you're trying to pitch your project. One of the things you would have in a schematic design booklet is colored floor plans. The benefit of having colored floor plans is that it's not a black and white photocopy. It's something that anybody can understand. A living room looks like a living room. There's materials, and you can rearrange your furniture however you'd like, and it sells what you're trying to get across. So these are 4 examples of renderings that we created. This shows like the actual furniture in the house, where you can put it even before the building's built, and you could find out what furniture, what kind of style you would like in your apartment or a condo or house, even before anything. So the legacy part of our project is that we have a photo tagging system. It's kind of like Flickr, where you drag a box and you can leave a comment. The benefit of this is that you could send it to a client and they could look at your rendering and then say they want the pool to be more blue or the walls to be more black, or brown, sorry. So this concludes our presentation. We still have stocks available. Our final presentation is on April 19th at the Daniel Center at the golf course. So thank you for listening and have a great day. Meow.
Yeah.